104.5 The Team, your home for New York sports. We're now joined by Seth Everett. You might remember him. He used to do pre- and post-game for the Mets, now on WCBS Sports with Friends podcast. Seth, the big story for the Mets is going to be their pitchers, of course. Collins thinks he can get 30 starts out of all 5 of them. Is he crazy, or does he just know something we don't know?
Well, he's crazy, but he also knows a lot. He's the best. I love Terry. It's wishful thinking, but the questions about all of them exist. And, I love in sports when all that has to happen for a team to win is they have to answer the questions correctly. If they can pull that off, Syndergaard is a freak of nature, but he seems like elbow surgery waiting to happen. Jacob deGrom is probably the best pitcher of them all, and yet he had injury problems. Matt Harvey, I would venture a guess, if I had to make a bet, and say which one of them never pans out, it would be Matt Harvey.
Wow.
And like I said, there's questions about all of them. So, it's one of those situations where if you're a fan, all you're asking for is to be in it, and they'll definitely be in it. I thought the biggest news from Mets camp wasn't that they named their opening day starter before they had a full squad workout, but that Max Scherzer might not pitch opening day, and we already know that. I think that's a bigger thing for the Mets because the Nationals are going to dictate. They've been the pace setters in that division. Remember, in 2015, and I'm not taking their credit away, but in 2015, it was the Nationals choking that got the Mets in the playoffs. And don't kid yourself about any of that. So the Nationals, if the Nationals turn into what I think they can be, they're going to win again. But if not, the Mets will be right there.
That back and forth in the NL East, and Mets fans just want to see all 5 pitchers stay healthy in that rotation. If it actually happens and all 5 are healthy, is this not only just the best team in the NL East, but maybe the best team in the entire National League?
Oh, no. I don't think I'll ever be the guy that says that. No, to me, the Cubs are still the best team in the National League, hands down. I've been very impressed with everything that the Cubs have done. And I think that they're primed to win 100 games again. They're put together well. They're young. They're just a great team. And I have my doubts. If you're asking me, again, this is all crystal ball stuff. So
right.
You're not wrong. But if you're going to tell me all 5 starters get 30 starts, that was how you propose the question. I would respond and say there's a better chance of hell freezing over. I don't think there's a if you're asking. Now, again, I'd love it to be wrong. Jacob deGrom babysat my kid once, so I'm a huge Jacob deGrom fan. And, there's Steven Matz is a good kid. I don't know Noah Syndergaard that well. I left before he was called up. And, the thing about it is I would love for their success, but I don't anticipate it.
Well, let's go back here. Jacob deGrom's babysitting your kid. What was Jacob deGrom like as a babysitter? How did that all work out?
I love that story. That and Donovan McNabb helped me move. Those are my 2 hilarious stories. Jacob deGrom was a rookie in 2014, and my daughter, she's now 8, she was for her 6th birthday, I guess 6th birthday, all she wanted was to go to work with Daddy. And we picked a day, and I had told the team I was doing it, and I had made all kinds of arrangements, and I brought my 6-year-old to a Mets game that I was doing the pre- and post-game for. And I had made arrangements with a security guard, this female security guard, and I had said, could you watch her for the 10 minutes that I needed to do my pregame interview with Terry? And it was at a set time. It was, he had a very rigorous schedule. He always did. And he was very accommodating, but we had to hit that time. And there was an incident in the ballpark, and she got called away. Oh, no. Like some idiot tried to jump a fence or some stupid thing. And now I'm screwed. And as much as I love my daughter, I will be the first to tell you, she does not shut up. she does not stop talking. So I can't bring her into the room where I'm going to interview Terry. It'll distract Terry. She'll interrupt. We're at the ballpark, so it's not like we have a full editing suite. You know how it is when you're on the road. And we had to make a decision. And Jacob deGrom saw me struggling and literally just walked over and said, oh, I'll watch her for a minute. And they played patty cake or did whatever they did. But that was what happened, and I went and did the interview. And I have wished nothing but success for Jacob deGrom since then, and I'll always answer with Jacob deGrom babysat my kid once.
How can you not root for him? Like, that's the greatest story I've ever heard from these guys. Right?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, well, if you guys want a better story, I have a better story about an athlete that I always love, and it's a much better story. 1990, what year is this? 1997. I am the beat reporter for the Denver Broncos.
Okay.
And that was the day and age of cassettes. This story has a great payoff. This is a day and age of cassettes. And I had gotten hired on a freelance basis by Westwood One because the Broncos were the Monday night game that weekend. And back then, you had to record stuff and literally mail them a cassette.
Oh, man.
We didn't have the internet. We didn't have email the way it was. Like, you had to mail them a cassette because they needed the quality to be that good. And the trick was you had to do half your interviews for your station and half of them. So, for example, if Shannon Sharp was speaking to the media, you run 5 minutes on one cassette, that's for your radio station, and 5 minutes on the other cassette, that's for Westwood One. And then at the end, you take the Westwood One tape and mail it to New York. That was my job. And I had a windbreaker, and my Westwood One cassette fell out of my jacket onto the ground, onto the practice field. And the only person that saw it fall was John Elway. John Elway, unbeknownst to me, runs over to where it had dropped, grabbed the cassette, and put it in his jersey. You know those pockets in the practice jerseys that quarterbacks have?
Yeah.
So 20 minutes go by, practice ends, and Elway's getting ready to meet the media. And John Elway looks at me like he looked like Hercules coming from the heavens. And he goes, "Here, kid, you dropped this." And I didn't even realize that I had lost it. I was like, oh, my God. I couldn't believe what he had done. And I will just say, because I'm a big believer in karma, the Denver Broncos beat the Green Bay Packers in Super Bowl 32. That's the same season.
And it all came from a cassette being placed in the proper hands.
It is. So, like, people will talk about John Elway. I remember I was doing a show, and a caller called up and said, "What do I think of John Elway acquiring Peyton Manning as a GM?" This is when they had acquired Peyton Manning, and I said, "John Elway can do no wrong. He saved my life once."
Seth Everett with us right now. Of course, you remember him from his days taking care of the Mets, now on WCBS and Sports with Friends podcast. Can't let you leave without asking about my favorite team, the Yankees. What are reasonable expectations for them this year?
Competitiveness. It'll be interesting to see because there's some question marks about the Orioles. There's some question marks about the Blue Jays. They both had subtractions with minimal additions. And the Yankees are a team that's on the rise. To me, a goal is 81 wins, 500, because the difference between 81 wins and 88 wins is a week. And are they good enough to then turn a corner and leapfrog that much? Well, tell me, because they're going to play the Orioles 18 times and the Blue Jays 18 times. Tell me how much better or worse those two teams are. And I think that's, very much conducive. Tanaka needs to stay healthy. There's no secret about it. And, they still have veterans whose best days are behind them. I heard Brian Cashman, who I adore. I think the world of Brian Cashman. But, he's talking about getting more execution out of Jacoby Ellsbury. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, I don't know that I would bet on something like that. But, they're going for it. And I think that, they're putting this team together. They did such a great job of flipping those veterans for some young players. And I think Yankee fans will soon see the fruits of their labor. This is my argument about Baltimore, because they had a decision to make about Chris Tillman. And my logic was, sign him. Because how long do you think the Yankees are going to be bad? You might want to take advantage and get a couple of division crowns while they're a 500 club. And if you don't take advantage of this opportunity, the Yankees will not be bad for long.
Seth Everett, man, we appreciate you. Thanks for taking time out of your busy day.
Thanks. Sorry that story interrupted.
No.
What was a boring spring training conversation?
No, that's perfect. And I would ask you about McNabb, but I'm saving that for the next time you come on.
Next time we're going to ask him about McNabb. As you know, I'm a huge McNabb guy. I got to hear the story next time. Well, it's a nice tease for us.
I'll tease it. Donovan McNabb helped me move.
I love it. Seth Everett.
Think Seinfeld and Keith Hernandez. That's all I'm going to say.
Oh, man, I love it. All right, we look forward to talking to you again soon.
You got it. Thanks for having me.